I'm going to start out this video really quickly by saying I'm reading directly off a script, so if I don't make eye contact with the camera, oh well. Hello, I'm Sunny Tatman. I'm here to bring you something totally original and not taken from a YouTuber. I've come to analyze Early Days, the OP of Creature Family Days, a series that has captivated me with its colorful characters and portrayal of family life. I'd like to start out by saying the version of the OP I'm analyzing is the one used from episode 3 and onwards. With that in mind, let's jump in. The OP starts with a shot of a sunrise over the town where the family resides. Other than being a pretty nice shot, it could potentially symbolize a new beginning for Dennis and his siblings. We then cut to the title of the show, with the background showing what seems to be atom diagrams. The electrons each colored differently, matching the color of each family member. Blue for Dennis, orange for Snow, purple for Tracy, yellow for Ashley, and green for Alice. We then transition to Dennis sitting in a chair, which is in between 4 empty chairs, one for each of his siblings. In the background there's a diagram of a solar system. This could not only be an allusion to his scientific interests, but also to the fact that Dennis is the only person who wants to continue the research of his parents. After a shooting star wipe, we see the family standing in the middle of a street. In the background and foreground, real-life pictures of Hong Kongs are projected onto the buildings and vehicles around the siblings. This is either just a nice shot, or a reference that the kids were thrown into a chaotic world without any warning. Now we get into the bulk of this OP, the character introductions. Dang it. Dennis gets a relatively simple one, showing a variety of emotions and... not emotions, equations and formulas in his shadow, possibly alluding to how he dwells in the shadows of his parents' discoveries. Snow is up next, and as we see him Snow is up next, as we see him make a dog using shadow puppets, as the shadow suddenly grows more detail, and the negative space seems to show Snow in an in-between state, where he's only partially transformed into his dog form. This not only shows us the extent of Snow's ability to transform, but also his more playful side. After Snow is Tracy, who seemingly does not have a lot going on in her shot. She's simply seen reading a book, there's a few books piled next to her, and her shadow projects the universal signal for communication. The lack of shot depth is on purpose here, however. Tracy is unable to show any sort of emotions, and therefore she doesn't have a personality to speak of. So she wouldn't exactly be able to show off traits past her mind-reading capabilities. Ashley follows suit, and you can tell by her posture alone that she's aggressive. However, beyond that, the shadow behind her turns into a threatening, blobbish-looking monster that has 8 eyes like a spider, which shows her tendency to lash out at not only Dennis, but her siblings as well. Lastly is Alice, whose shot is probably the most simple of the 5. As vines grow out of her and cover the background with their shadows, she has a smile on her face, which is sort of indicative of her calming nature. In the next shot, the family is seen sitting on what seems like its own little world. A variety of science equipment is shown floating next to this planetoid, implying that because of their parents' experimentation, the family never really had any interaction with the outside world. After a few shots taken from the show itself, which I will admit is somewhat lazy, the next part of the OP shows the family in a car in what is probably the most bizarre shot of the opening. You zoom out from the family in the car, and they're on a ferry. You zoom out from the ferry, and the ferry is sitting on top of a water spout of a whale, and then the water spout stops. I have no idea what the shot is supposed to mean. The closest I can get to a semblance of meaning is that it's the family having its relatively calm life swept from under it. I think it's just a funny shot for the sake of having a fun shot. We then cut to the group standing in a circle. Starting at Alice, there are individual shots of what looks like the characters reaching towards a light, which could be the rising sun we see at the start of the OP. As Dennis flashes back to the time when the island they lived on seemingly exploded, we get a shot of him falling from high in the sky. A quick cut shows Rubik's Cubes being partially solved, each whole face of the cube being one of the characters' colors, again, blue for Dennis, orange for Snow, yellow for Ashley, purple for Tracy, green for Alice. We then return to Dennis falling as Tracy grabs his hand. She looks at her brother and looks back towards the center of the newly formed circle, each sibling supporting each other as they fall to the island where they were raised. The final shot of the OP is of the group sitting in a flower field, which serves to lead us into the episode with a more calming nature. Early Days does not only does Early Days portray the struggles of the Frankenstein family, but that a few people love because nobody is watching the show. But it also shows a bit of each character's personality and even their backstory. It's a high quality OP that precedes an equally high quality show.